The 2026 World Cup is coming to an end, and before it even started, everyone in the world was already calling it the worst World Cup in history. But I think they were completely wrong, so let's talk about it. Starting off with the fan culture at this World Cup, I didn't even need to be there to see this. Social media did it for me. This World Cup turned into one giant cultural exchange that nobody could predict. In Boston, you had Scotland fans who took over the city, drank the bars dry, and were the highlight at Fenway Park singing their songs. And by the end of it, believe it or not, Boston and Glasgow actually signed an official sister city partnership. That's no joke. That's something that happened off the back of this tournament. And then you have Mexico, where you had South Korean and Mexican fans become genuine hermanos, reviving a bond from 2018 when South Korea beat Germany in the group stage, and that result ended up helping Mexico advance to the knockout stage. And during this World Cup, we saw Mexican and Korean fans coming together, sharing tequila outside of the stadiums after security stopping them from bringing the bottles inside. It was just an amazing thing to see. And then in Texas, you had Japanese fans trying real Texas barbecue for the first time, and it was probably one of the most watched fan reaction content of this entire tournament. My favorite of this all was Europeans discovering ranch for the first time and wanting to take bottles back home in their carry-ons. It got to the point that TSA actually had to run a social media campaign about it. They posted photos of confiscated ranch bottles, and the company Kraft, after seeing this blow up online, launched a limited edition TSA compliant travel size ranch kit in the middle of the tournament so that these Europeans can take some ranch back home. And none of this was scripted. No brand paid for any of this fan culture. No marketing team probably could not even plan this either. And this is just what happens when you put the whole world in one place for a whole month for the World Cup. But that was just the fans, and what happened on the pitch might be even harder to argue with. Look, if you actually care about the team that you support, then don't just grab the first cheap replica jersey that you see online, because that shirt will fade, rip, and it will look nothing like the real thing after a few wears. And you'll end up having to buy it again, maybe even a third time. So instead, go to the link down below in my description, browse the shop, and get yourself an authentic football jersey. It's match quality, not knockoff quality. Now, one of the biggest complaints before this tournament even started was the expansion of the 48 teams that would let in nations that probably had no business being there. But Cape Verde proved everyone wrong. This is a country of around 530,000 people. It's smaller than most cities, and they made it to the World Cup for the first time ever and became the smallest nation in history to reach the knockout rounds. And their goalkeeper, Vozinha, who is 40 years old, became one of the most loved players at this World Cup. Before this tournament even started, I think he had just a few thousand followers on social media. Now, if you check his profile, he has tens of millions. And on top of that, their first group game against Spain, they held a clean sheet against them, who, by the way, are one of the World Cup finalists this year. And all he really said that he wanted out of this World Cup was for his mother to see him play, which ended up happening. And if that wasn't enough, they actually advanced to the knockout phase and came up against Argentina, the other World Cup finalists of this year, in the round of 32. And let's be honest, nobody gave him a chance. We thought this would be a blowout, but this small nation showed passion, grit, they showed fight, and they ended up equalizing twice during this game. And on top of that, their left back ended up scoring what I think is probably one of the best goals at the tournament so far. So a nation like Cape Verde doesn't get a World Cup story in a regular 32 team tournament format. They don't even qualify to that. And the expansion didn't just add more games to the tournament, it added moments like this. And Cape Verde wasn't the only reason people were wrong about the quality. The other big fear that I remember seeing online was that this World Cup, having 48 teams, would water down the quality of the football, meaning there would be weaker teams, more blowouts, more games that nobody would want to watch. And let's be honest, we were all there at 1 a.m. or 5 a.m. watching New Zealand versus Iran, which ended up actually being a pretty decent game. So the idea of these smaller nations not having the quality to compete against against the bigger nations was completely wrong, because we saw Paraguay knock out Germany in the round of 32. This is Germany, a nation that has 4 World Cup titles. And yes, I'll agree with you, Paraguay's style wasn't pretty, but it got the job done anyway, and it gave Germany their first ever penalty shootout loss at the World Cup, a team that had gone 44 years and 4 straight shootouts without losing one. And then you had Mexico, one of the host nations, where most Mexican fans weren't even confident in their team before the tournament even started. But they ended up keeping a clean sheet in each of their first 4 matches at the World Cup, which made them the second team to ever do this since 1999 when Italy did it. And then we had Panama, who were already in a tough group with England, Ghana, and Croatia. But when they played Ghana, they took them to the very last minute of regular time. They ended up losing in the 95th minute. That was literally the last kick of the game. That Panamanian team fought the entire match, but eventually they ended up going home with nothing. Now, was every game this year a masterclass? No, let's be honest. We did see some sloppy goals. Goalkeepers made their errors. Defenders were giving away the ball that led to goals. Nobody's pretending that this was a tournament of flawless football. The biggest worry was that these nations weren't going to be able to compete against the bigger nations like Argentina, Spain, or Germany. But that wasn't the case, and they proved everyone completely wrong. And while the smaller nations were making their case, one of the biggest names of the sport was making his. I think you know who I'm referring to here. I'm talking about Lionel Messi, who turned 39 at this World Cup, and his run is still going on. Him and Argentina take on Spain in the final this Sunday. And I'll be honest, I don't even want Argentina to win again, but I gotta give credit where credit is due. I'll give credit to the squad because every time I watch them play, it looks like they're just ready to die for their nation and ready to leave everything out on the pitch to see Messi win again. And at the age of 39, Messi is still going to war alongside them. It's just a crazy thing to see. And right now, he's sitting on 21 World Cup goals. That's the most anyone has ever scored at the World Cup for now. And at his age, I think a lot of players or athletes don't have anything left physically. The talent probably doesn't leave, but the body usually does. And Messi's body, let's be honest, hasn't gotten that memo yet. He's still doing this at this age where he should be watching from the studio, not playing in a World Cup final. So if Argentina go on to win it again with a 39-year-old Messi who's still doing his bits, I don't see how anyone can call this the worst World Cup in history. Messi has been carrying this tournament on pure greatness. And the last thing I've got for you is bigger than any one player. The US men's national team run through this tournament did something that nobody expected. It broke American TV records from game 1. Their opener against Paraguay drew in 18 million viewers. And according to Yahoo Sports, that's nearly triple what they drew in their opening game back in 2022. Then in the round of 16, they faced Belgium, and that match drew in 30 million viewers on Fox alone. That's the most watched football telecast in US history. And for a game that they ended up losing 4-1 in a blowout loss. And it's not just one tournament spike. The MLS is already up 62% in viewership this season compared to last year, but you don't nearly triple your viewership and grow your domestic league by accident. This isn't hype. This is a country that's actually falling for the sport in real time. And here's another thing. I think we all know that America has athletes. You see it in the NFL, the NBA, the Olympics. Whether that athleticism translates to football or not, the country produces more elite athletic talent than almost anywhere on earth. And the only thing that's missing is the interest in this sport specifically. So if this is any indication that the US can become a footballing nation, then I see no reason the United States doesn't win one of the next few World Cups. So there you have it. People called this the worst World Cup in history before it even started, and it turned out they were completely wrong. So if you enjoyed this one, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want an authentic jersey instead of a knockoff, something that actually holds up, check out the link in the description below, browse the shop, and get yourself an authentic football shirt. I'll see you guys on the next video.